I recognize Mr. Walkinshaw for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Constance Baker Motley, she was a Columbia Law School graduate, the first black woman to argue before the Supreme Court, the first female attorney at the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund, where she became a lead trial attorney in consequential early civil rights cases. She represented Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She wrote the original complaint in Brown versus Board of Education and Meredith versus Fair. She won the case that resulted in James Meredith becoming the first black student to attend the University of Mississippi. She was later an elected official, a federal district court judge. Ms. Behnke, you have dedicated your career both to the legal profession and to expanding access to that profession. I want to thank you for your service and for being here today. The supposed purpose of our task force here is to defend constitutional rights and expose institutional abuses. Your testimony emphasizes the ABA is deeply committed both to ensuring diversity within the legal profession and to preserving the rule of law. And I can think of no better example than Judge Motley to demonstrate why those commitments are closely connected and how together they can help us defend our constitutional rights and expose institutional abuses, what this task force is supposed to do. Because diversity in the legal profession isn't just about who's present or who gets admitted to a law school classroom or hired at a law firm. It's about ensuring that people from every background, liberal, conservative, urban, rural, male, female, every background, have a seat at the table, an opportunity to use the law to identify and challenge abuses of power. Because people who have witnessed institutional abuse or experienced it or come from communities whose rights have historically been denied might recognize an injustice that others overlook. And a legal education can give them the tools to challenge those injustices, hold those institutions accountable, and prevent abuses from continuing. I think that's a concept that this administration and some of my colleagues are terrified by, quite frankly. Judge Motley broke barriers, she strengthened the profession, she forced powerful institutions to abide by the rule of law and the Constitution. She made our country greater. That's exactly why diversity in the legal profession matters. A system that draws its lawyers, judges, public officials from every background is better equipped to recognize institutional abuses and to end them. So unfortunately, I don't think this hearing is about defending constitutional rights or exposing institutional abuses. I think it's about making it harder for women and people of color to pursue a legal education, making it harder for them to get the tools required to protect their own rights, protect all of our rights, and expose abuse. Ms. Behnke, from your experience as a law student, a lawyer, the president of the State Bar of Wisconsin, if I have that right, and now the president of the ABA, can you speak to how diversity in all its forms in the legal profession can help defend Americans' constitutional rights and prevent institutional abuses? How can diversity help us to accomplish those really important goals?
When you have a diverse group, people who have different experiences, people who have looked at the issue from different ways, that helps expand the problem solving. There are studies that have been done by McKinsey and Harvard Business Review who indicate that the more diverse a team is, the better the solutions are. And at the end of the day, lawyers are there to solve their clients' problems, to solve the issues that face our society in the way of legal issues. And so when you have a diverse group, you have better outcomes, and when you have better outcomes, then the public as well as the particular clients have greater confidence in the system.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Look, I've been on a lot of teams in my life, sports teams, professional offices, organizations, boards, committees, commissions. In every single case, I have found that those teams are stronger when there's a diversity of perspectives and backgrounds and views. And I don't understand how we got to a point in this country where there are people in very high positions of power so terrified by that. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.